Hey, you wild women. I hope you're well. I am just getting over a little cold or flu. I don't know what it is, but I am not feeling the best, probably because we just did extensive travel and hosted our first ever couples retreat. But we're also only a couple days away from going to Japan for a week. And so I'm overwhelmed, and partially because I'm an introvert and I do love my home time and I do love my alone time. And so this is pushing me way outside my comfort zone. It's not to say I'm not having fun or I didn't have fun or I'm not excited for the trips to come. It just goes to show that we don't all function the same way. We don't have the same dreams. We don't have the same level of interest or capacity or values, which means that the things that interest us, the things that top up our love tank, are quite different. However, I do know one thing is for sure for most women that I know in my inner circle, the people that follow me on Instagram, is this feeling of inadequacy. So do you ever feel like maybe you should have accomplished more by now? Do you ever feel not enough, like not rich enough or pretty enough or getting enough sleep or eat enough healthy foods? Are you at an age much like me where you feel yourself starting to get older and you worry that maybe the good years are already behind you? Admittedly, that's been me lately. And while I don't want to say it's normal to feel this way, I did post something on Instagram last night that in my world blew up compared to most of my other content. And I think it's because it is so eerily, scarily relatable to most women. I'm going to read this to you. So the post says, as a mom in her midlife, I often face debilitating feelings of inadequacy. I seemingly have it all, but I feel like I should have done more, earned more, played more, chilled out more. I wonder why I didn't make the 30 under 30 list or won more awards or wrote a best-selling book. I have nightmares about losing my children, missing their childhood, and raising humans not ready for the real world. I worry about my parents getting sick or losing touch with those I love the most. I'm starting the thrilling journey of perimenopause, which coincides perfectly with the statistical age most women start to feel older, 43, which means emotions are high, cycles unpredictable, and body parts not working like they used to. My young and careless era is over, and it shames me to think that I didn't accomplish more. I worry there is not enough time to conquer the next mountain, or that if I do start to climb it, I'll give up too soon because of all of the above. So if you follow me because there is something you admire in me or that motivates you, just know that I too suffer those day-to-day BSs. We're all in this together. And I got quite a few comments. And these were women saying, I feel you, sister. I feel all those things. I'm with you. This is me. You're reading my mind. Jacqueline says, may we all find peace and comfort in knowing that we're not alone on these walks. I'm not, and one woman goes, I'm just over here appreciating the truth of these feelings. I'm with you, my friend. I have so much to say on this, but just know you're never alone. Oh, me too on all of this. These are women, my friends, 100% feel this way that I admire. These are successful female entrepreneurs. Most of these women are mothers. Most of them are successful in their own right. And I can tell that they're happy. They're also hustlers. They're go-getters. But the through line in all of this, the commonality in all of this, is that most women, regardless of their financial status, their success, whether or not they have kids, they're healthy, doesn't matter how good these women have it. Doesn't matter how good you think I have it. We all feel inadequate sometimes. We all feel like we could and should do more. Now, I do want to share with you a couple things that I do to get over those feelings of inadequacy. But first, I want to share with you a little story. Now, if you've been a longtime listener to my podcast, you will know that I share the story about what it was like when I started my first agency. I was 8 months pregnant with Max and launched the agency, hired a bunch of contractors that eventually turned into full-time employees, had clients all over the world. We were growing very quickly. And I had my second son, Noah, only 11 months after having Max. So both my babies were not even a year apart when I launched my company. Now, to most women in Canada who have a decent job and have mat leave, they will take that time off. They will take the year off to be with their child, to rest, to bond. And sometimes people take pat leave so the father gets some time. Now, society and what I chose to accept as the story that I wanted to believe was that a successful female entrepreneur had to go back to work right away. And I did that. So I remember the moment after Noah was born, so my second, I was answering emails right away. I was literally right back to work. I was holding him in one arm, steaming from still being born. And I was answering emails and text messages for work. And I thought that's just what I had to do. I didn't allow my time to have that space. I didn't allow my time to have that freedom and flexibility to just be with my son. And here's the thing is I don't want to say I have any regrets, but I realized upon reflecting on the 42 years of my life that I do genuinely, and I'm going to cry because, man, I missed those days. I missed those days all in favor of this identity that I was so proud of building around being a successful entrepreneur. And I look at the shelf on my wall with framed pictures of me in magazines and in newspapers and announcements for winning awards and my trophy for awards and the book I run the book that I wrote, the planner that I published, and all these achievements of which I should reflect on every single day. I created most of that success in the moments in my life that I should have dedicated towards being a present mother. And I can't turn back time. But what I do know I can is spend most of that time now, being present with my kids now. And again, all that in favor of creating this identity in the world of being a successful entrepreneur, because I thought that if I went any other way, that my business partner would want out, that my clients would fire me, that people wouldn't have that same level of respect. And guess what? I know it to be true that if I had taken more time away from my work to be with my kids, that would have been the case. So these feelings of inadequacy that I should have done more of these things is true for most women. And I can tell you for a fact that probably about 90% of those women that I know that commented how they agree with me are all mothers. And for us to create this like stoic, humbled, perfect vision of success for a female entrepreneur that is a mother, it means that we were putting in the hours and we're showing it off, that we're doing all this stuff for our work to be respected in the industry, to charge more money, to hire the right people, to land the right clients and customers. And so we continually perpetuate these feelings of inadequacy within ourselves because the next level isn't good enough. Like say you're an author and you get, Wall Street Journal bestseller or New York Times. Then when you achieve that thing, you end up thinking, what's that next level? And sure, as my friend Chris Smith says, the mountain is always meant to be climbed and not conquered. I get it. But it perpetuates the feeling of not enough. And so today, I want to reflect really quickly on how I've felt, especially the last couple months. What happened was over the holidays, our house manager who works for us over 40 hours a week, she was gone for a month. She went back home to get married and this was all planned for. And I thought it's the holiday season. I could make up for her time. So essentially taking over my already packed schedule with somebody's full-time role. I wasn't thinking through. I was just trying to not cause any issues with anybody else or to ruffle any feathers or to overwhelm somebody else. So I said, I can do it. It shouldn't be a problem. And I did not talk my worries. And so it all bottled up. And I ended up losing hair because of it. I ended up getting my reflux back, feeling like crap. There was so much that happened because I wanted to identify as that powerhouse woman that can do it all. And today, my task for you is to look at your plate and think of all the things you can take off of it. and what you can replace those things with, what tops up your love tank. For me, it's actually doing the hot tub, red infrared sauna, cold plunge circuit at our house. It's getting back on the drums. Maybe it's playing beach volleyball again. And those things, while it might not be the ultimate resume for being a successful female entrepreneur, I actually step back from really caring, like stopping caring about that. The more I lean in to what I want to do and what makes me feel good, and I care less about what other people think, the more I realize that I'm just one tiny little dot on this planet spinning in the universe around a shooting star. It makes me think that most of these things are just so insignificant anyway. And so if that's really what it looks like from the perspective of God or source or whatever you believe in, that really our destiny is to just be pure love, to give love, to receive love, then what is the point of putting out these insanely unachievable goals of trying to be 30 under 30 or a Nobel Prize winner or a Wall Street Journal when it's not really innately the thing that we want to achieve because it looks good on the outside? If we can just start focusing on the things that make us feel good on the inside and do more of that, the thing that we do to give love back to our community, to universe, to God, will actually show up a lot easier. And so you're probably waiting on to hearing what are the things that I do when I start feeling inadequate. It is literally stepping away from the thing that makes me feel inadequate. Sometimes, like I'm reading about, I think I have like 6 or 7 books on the go because I pick up a book based on how I feel and based on the information I think I need to know now. And so I started reading this book, I forget what it's called, about like having your agency grow to $1 million in 12 months. And it's actually the message that is making me feel inadequate because I am not enough. I haven't grown this agency to $1 million, but I was able to do that quickly with my last one. And so now I'm reading a bunch of other stuff around like spirituality and mindset. If you want to DM me on Instagram, Renee_Warren, I can share the books that I'm reading. So the couple of things that I do is stepping away from the things that make me feel inadequate, reading a good book, going into nature. Like these are all things but we just don't allow ourselves to do. Have you ever gone on a car ride with no destination, without anything on in your car and just talking to yourself? The people around you driving or think that you're probably just on a phone call. So who cares? I would go and just talk. So when I drop the kids off at school, most of the time we listen to our playlist on the way home. About 50% of the time, I will just have silence and I will talk to myself. It is a form of self-therapy and it works. The other thing I do is I'll mention this to my husband and we'll talk through some of the things and maybe there's something he can help me with. Most of the times he wants to fix it and not just listen. What's really important is to get the body moving. Exercise is probably the most important thing to do. It's the best antidote. Healthy eating. Like I've been off alcohol now for quite a few months, but we tend to go for those quick fixes. Maybe you like to smoke weed. Maybe you'd microdose mushrooms. Maybe you like to drink a glass of wine or go for that cookie. Those quick hits end up being a very momentary cure for feeling inadequate. And they don't actually work in the long run. They make you feel worse. And so whenever you have these moments in your business, in your life, where you just don't feel like you're good enough, or there's stuff coming up, you really just have to get over it. I know it sucks. The worst advice. I even told my husband yesterday, I said, I'm so angry at myself. I'm disappointed in myself for letting myself get to this point in my business where I feel like I'm failing. And all I need to do is put the pedal to the metal and get going. Is get up 5 a.m., get going. There's no more sleeping into 6 or 7 and having a pity party. No, it's get up, get going. Mel Robbins says 3, 2, 1, go. So 3, 2, 1, put your feet on the floor, get out of bed, get going. Or maybe you're on a phone call that's just vicious cycle. It's just the same thing, repetitive over and over again. There's no actual conclusion. Just say you got to go. Whatever it is in your life, get yourself out of it. Find the community. I have tons of resources about and previous podcast episodes about finding the community and finding the people within your tribe, your own circle, to help you feel better about yourself, to help you walk through these moments and these instances when you think that there's no end, you're going to throw in the towel. So all I know is that whomever you admire in the industry, whoever you admire in parenting or in marriage and relationships or in health, whomever it is, they go through BS time and time and time again. The difference between the person who feels like they are successful in accomplishing their dreams and the person who is inadequate are the people that actually build the muscle to plow through those times that it's really difficult. I'm a soft person. I'm very sensitive. So sometimes I find it difficult. And that's why I'm in this position right now. Huge self-pity party. But you know what? That's okay. And it's also okay to share your emotions. For me, I felt very vulnerable sharing that post, but I knew that it was going to help other women, primarily for them to believe that they're not in it alone. So if you have any questions about this, or you want to share how you feel inadequate, and maybe I can provide some resources or shed a light, hit me up on Instagram, Renee_Warren. And just know this, that above anything else, you are the most important person in your life, not anybody else. If you're not taking care of yourself emotionally, physically, spiritually, nobody else is going to do that. Somebody might show up occasionally, like my husband. He made me toast the other day because I wasn't feeling well, and he made me a coffee. But he's not the one that's going to do the work for me. You have to do the work yourself. Life is tough. Shit, sucks sometimes. But the more you can lean in to getting yourself over this little speed bump and starting feeling a little bit more accomplished, do it. And also, reflect back on your biggest wins. So as I look up at the shelf now, I look back at the things I did accomplish, which means that I can do it again. And so can you. So until next time, ladies, peace out.